Welcome, welcome, my friends, to probably the most exciting interview I've ever done. I don't get nervous doing interviews much anymore. I've got some butterflies. I am so excited to introduce you or help you get to better know the one and only Brad Yates. To watch Brad's YouTube videos is to love him. And I can tell you that Brad has over 30 million YouTube views, right? Like the high level, like introduction to who he is. If you don't know why, you need to go follow him and why you will fall in love with him as well. His journey from literal clown, which I can't wait to talk about, to sought after EFT, emotional freedom technique or tapping expert, has over 30 million views on YouTube and over 200 instructional videos where he helps people overcome their fears and redefine themselves in a positive light, stop holding themselves back. He is a personal hero of mine, somebody that has had a profound impact on my life, even though we've never actually talked face to face until now. But over the past 5 years, his videos have helped me heal from profound trauma and grief, to create new money stories, to detach from needing certain things, to have healthy pregnancies after traumatic loss. You name it, runs the gamut. This man is amazing, and I'm so excited to welcome him to our community. Brad, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much, Christine. That was that was an awesome introduction. I'm humbled, and you have the most up-to-date numbers on 30 million views. It's actually over 900 videos on YouTube now.
Oh, the media bio needs to be updated. I saw that and I was like, I'm pretty sure there's more than that, but I'll just go with what he said. Over 900. Yes. Okay. You know what is so funny? I was watching the views tick up as we got closer to this interview because it's been booked for a bit. And I was like, yes, now I get to say over 30 million. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. That was a fun milestone.
That's amazing, amazing, amazing. So Brad, you obviously are somebody that I am so grateful is on the planet at the same time as me. And I'm really excited to hear a little bit more about like your journey with this work, because you've been doing it for a long time. It takes a minute to create 900 videos and 30 million views, right?
Yeah, about 3 months, I think it took me.
Right?
3 months and 11 years, but who's counting?
Right. 10 a day. It's fine. 90 days. We're done. Okay. So can you give us a little bit of backstory on you were literally a Ringling Brothers clown school graduate, which I love so much. What drew you to that work? And was that sort of like your first professional job, or fill us in?
No. So I was an actor. I had got my degree in drama from college, and then I toured around the world doing children's theater. Yes. And performed in exotic locations like Italy, Australia, Fiji, Waukegan, Illinois. I played all the big cities.
Right.
And then decided, it's time to go to Hollywood and be a movie star. And when I got there, one of the things that I did was, yes, I went to Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey's Clown College. That's my diploma back there on the wall, Bachelor of Fun Arts. And and right about that same time, met a woman, fell in love, got married. And when our first child was on the way, I thought I should probably have a backup career. And so I trained to become a hypnotherapist and did that for a while. And from that, learned about EFT and fell in love with it and became my main modality.
Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. And Brad, I have 2 little girls my rainbow babies that I welcomed after loss. And I bought your children's book and program and everything for them. And like, I and their grandmothers like read them The Wizard's Wish. Brad has a beautiful children's book that, well, you have two, and I have them both, of course, but that introduces children to tapping and how they can deal with their emotions, their fears, and get rid of the, the negative emotions they're feeling using tapping and like in an approachable way, right? So thank you for doing that work as well.
Oh, my pleasure.
Love that. Okay, so you dove into this work about 11 years ago.
With you, 11 years ago with YouTube.
Okay.
I was introduced to tapping in 2000, so it's been 20 years that I've been tapping on my face for a living.
Right. Cool.
And but it was around 2007 when YouTube was new.
Right.
And I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was a tapping video that people could start their day with? And I'll call it Tap of the Morning. And and that was all I ever intended to do. That one video, I had no idea about doing more videos. Like, oh, I'll do this one video. About 6 months after that, I thought, I really ought to have a video to end the day. I'll just call that Tap of the Evening. And then I'm done. And then it was another 3 months before I came up with another idea, and then another one. And suddenly I was making, several a day. And now we're at over 900.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So were you in private practice, before YouTube, like 2000 to 2007, you were just doing private practice sessions.
Right.
Okay. Helping people. What did you, at that time, what did you find? Was there a common theme that you were mainly helping people with, or was it across the spectrum? And did you specialize?
After doing a lot of tapping with a lot of people, it hit me that my real job was teaching people to love themselves. And the biggest impediment to the lives we want, at least for most people, is just feeling of unworthiness. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. Things like that. And so I talk about the Michelangelo principle. So the David has always been my favorite statue.
Yes.
Favorite piece of art. And I got to see it years ago, long before I got into tapping. And then at a certain point, it hit me that not only just did I love it, and I've got it, David's all around my pictures and statues and things, but it hit me that it was a perfect analogy for this work, because Michelangelo said, the masterpieces are already there inside the marble. I just have to chip away what doesn't belong to reveal the masterpiece. And so for me, it was, okay, people are masterpieces. They're awesome. They're lovable. They're incredible. They're brilliant. But we have all this excess marble that we have protecting us. And it's fear and doubt and worry and anxiety and guilt and shame and things like that. So if there's just a way to tap those away and clear away what doesn't belong, we just naturally reveal the masterpiece. And that can show up in all kinds of different areas, in terms of our physical well-being, in terms of our relationships, in terms of our finances, all these different places in our areas in our lives where we limit how good things can be.
Yes. Amazing. And, I can speak to being like a highly sensitive, intuitive person who I may not be generating a feeling, but if somebody else is, like, I'm going to feel it. And so one of the reasons that I love tapping and your videos and work specifically is because of the energy that you bring to it, like the space really that you are able to hold for people, the calm energy, right? So I can literally start tapping with one of your videos and immediately like yawn, relaxation response. I'm like, this is magic, right? Because I've dealt with anxiety and stuff my whole life.
When I was an actor, if people started yawning at the beginning, it was not such a good thing. That's what I love about when I got into hypnosis. If my audience fell asleep, it was a good thing.
Yes.
As a tapper, if they yawn, it's a good thing.
Yes. It really shifted the paradigm there of performance for you, right?
Very much so.
I love that.
When I do live events and the whole audience is yawning, it's like, this used to be a bad thing.
I get to be on stage and help people relax for a living now. What is this? I love it. What do you personally find that you tap on the most?
It varies. I tap every day. I recommend tapping to folks every day. To me, it's energy hygiene. You have
Mm,
physical hygiene like bathing and brushing your teeth. Most of us don't wait until there's stuff growing between our teeth and go, oh, now I should brush my teeth.
right.
We don't wait until people around us are holding their nose and go, now I should take a shower.
Yeah.
We just have maintenance. So, if you look at tapping as nothing more than stress relief, and it can be so much more than that, but that's the primary thing is
Yeah.
this process is lowering our stress response.
Yeah.
And there's so many stressors. There's ambient stress from all the stuff going on. So first thing in the morning, I just start tapping, and sometimes I'll say affirmations. I may say prayers, just going through different things, addressing whatever might be coming up that day that I might want to just be as clear as possible.
Yeah.
So most of the tapping I do is just getting as clear as possible. But I'll also, there are times where it's like, okay, I've kind of hit a level of success and now I want to go further and I need to do some tapping there because there's nothing so good it can't get better. And I'm always like, hey, what's the next level?
Right.
What else do I want to experience in my lifetime?
Yep.
And there may just be frustration with all of the challenges going on in the world. And I can get, I'm still human. I can still get sucked into outrage and things like that and judgment. And so I still fall into that, but I'm pretty quick at catching myself and going, oh, okay, this is not where I want to be. My job is to be an instrument of peace. Like my job description is the St. Francis prayer. Make me an instrument of your peace.
Yes.
So I need to clear whatever is not peace inside of me so that I can then help other people get to a place of peace.
That's beautiful. I love that. You have, how old are your kids now? Are they grown?
They are now grown,
Okay.
23 and almost 21.
Okay. One of the things that is kind of like a guiding, guiding star for me as my kids are 4 and 1 is like the biggest thing that I can teach them. The biggest factor of helping them become successful adults is teaching them how to like regulate themselves emotionally, right? Rather than needing something outside of them to do that. And I'm curious, like, how did you use tapping? Obviously, this is a selfish question, but for anybody with kids in their lives, how did you use tapping other than writing these wonderful books with your kids as they were growing up?
Yeah, well, and I wish that I had written those books earlier. And I have done tapping with kids at different times. It's just kind of a fact of life that everything your dad does is uncool. Particularly if what your dad does is tap on his face.
On YouTube.
On YouTube. Thanks, Dad. I got
when
beat
you're a
up at school.
teenager.
No. Fortunately, my kids never got beat up at school because their dad was so bizarre. But and they both will admit to tapping at times and using the technique, but I did not cultivate an outrageous enthusiasm. Although when my daughter was 9, we shot a series of videos, so you can find that under Tapping with Kids on my YouTube channel. So, and then last summer, 10 years later, she got home from college and said, hey, we should shoot some more videos. And we did 3 more for young adults.
Oh, cool.
So, cool. And she initiated that. That wasn't like, okay, come on, Bailey, you need to do some.
You were like, yes, but I can't act too excited, right?
I need you to tell the world that my kids tap.
Right, exactly. Gosh, I love that. What is the craziest request you've ever gotten for a tapping video topic?
Oh, I get a lot of requests for various physical ailments.
Okay.
And things that I have never heard of.
Okay.
Like, hey, please do a video on this.
Mm-hmm.
And I always have to politely decline. It's like, I approach physical issues in similar ways. So I have videos on health, and I have several on physical health. if I start doing a tapping video on every possible ailment, I would have 5 million videos that were almost all the same. It's just, insert name of ailment here.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of the things that have been suggested, it's like, that's a thing.
I have to Google that.
Yeah. And a lot of a lot of them just were based on videos that I've already done, but people have a very specific kind of thing. It's like, okay, there might be one other person besides you that might be helpful for, but that might warrant a private session rather than a YouTube video.
Exactly. Okay.
But nothing, I'm having a hard time coming up with any specifics that I want to say here that someone might see and go, oh my God, I can't believe that he mentioned me.
Right. Fair enough. I totally
thought that was bizarre. That's totally normal.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I know the answer to this, but I want to ask it anyway. Do you feel like this is your life's work?
It's okay for now. It pays the bills. Going through the want ads, I needed work and saw, Tapper needed. It's absolutely, this is what I feel I have to do. And that's why I make the YouTube videos. It's always, and I have lists of them. I'm constantly writing down ideas for new videos. And if I were a smarter businessman, I would say, there's another product I could sell. There's another product I could sell. It's like, no, I have to put that out there and try to, change the world one tap at a time. And, fortunately I do have private clients and things like that. So I'm able to sustain myself as I do this.
Right.
But yeah, it's, in the way I word it is, I work for God. He gives me the job and I do it, and it shows up in different ways. And I'm so blessed to be able to do what I do, and I love it so much. I have just the thrill I have of being in that process. There's a great line in Chariots of Fire where the runner who is a minister is talking to his sister, and his sister is constantly trying to get him to give up the whole running thing. And he says to her, yes, God made me a good minister, but he also made me fast, and I feel God's pleasure when I run. So to me, it's like, I feel God's pleasure when I'm tapping. And I don't mean to make that a really religious thing.
No.
I mean, for anyone watching, it's like, I have videos where I talk about God, but only a few. And so I'll have people say, oh, I was enjoying the video until you said God. And then I'll have a lot of other people comment on other videos saying, yeah, it was nice, but you should bring God more into your work. It's like, I cannot make everybody happy.
Literally cannot. 30 million views later, right? Turns out can't make everyone happy. But that's your truth, Brad, right? Like, this is why you do it, right? Like, so that's just you being you. One
of the things that people comment that they like about my videos is that I'm authentic. Yes. So, love me or hate me, here I am.
Right? Well,
and I'm very
30 million times. So
very, 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 very blessed and grateful that for the most part, it's more on the positive side.
Right. Yeah, because I would imagine, people seeking, to better themselves with your work are on a personal development journey where they understand some form of mindset, or they're getting there, right? You're helping them get there. So this is an audience of impact first, mission first entrepreneurs. And obviously we look up to you, right, as a trailblazer. Can you tell me a little bit about how your business is currently structured?
There's one of those tough questions that
no one's ever asked you before.
Structure?
What do you offer?
What is this word that you use? And I'm always working on that. I just worked with a business coach yesterday on restructuring. So yeah, I mean, it's for me, making an impact tends to come before making an income.
Same.
And which is noble. And anyone watching this, be tapping on that though, because we can take that too far.
Yeah.
You know, it's not making an impact versus making an income. You know, it's not, I just put out free videos on YouTube and there's nothing else I do, because, you know, I have a mortgage. I like to eat.
Exactly.
I have kids, one kid's still in college.
Yep.
So I have private clients. I have a membership site.
Yep.
And earlier this year, I started to allow video ads to run before my videos on YouTube.
Cool.
And that was one that I had a big resistance to for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, oh, I shouldn't do that to my audience. Like, they can watch the videos for free.
Yeah.
I think they can watch 3 seconds of an ad so that I can enjoy some more of the abundance that I'm always telling people that they should be enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's physician, heal thyself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have, you know, all these different ways in which I allow myself to be paid.
Yeah. Yes.
And it's finding those ways that feel that they're in integrity.
Yep.
For you.
Exactly. Yeah.
But also doing some tapping where you might find yourself, like I do some tapping to allow those videos. And and I've had people comment, it's like, oh, I wish you didn't put ads on your videos. It's like, okay. I don't need to starve because somebody doesn't like to watch 3 seconds of video.
Yeah.
And allowing, hey, that person is where they're at. I don't need to shame them and blame them, but we can get into a place of feeling like, okay, impact is so much more important than income, that I should not allow myself to have, you know, that I need to deprive myself.
Right.
In order, because you can have both.
Yes. 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 I was just talking to a client about this, and I think those of us who identify as helpers, counselors, right? Like those people, we want to help so much that we do lead with that impact. And then sometimes we're like really uncomfortable with the money part. And
it's not spiritual to make money. You should just do it for the sake of giving.
Exactly.
Okay, but then I'll starve to death and then I won't be here to take care of, you know.
Yeah.
I should go out and get some other job that doesn't feel right for me so that I can freely give away what I have a talent for. And and again, I understand that people will say these things because they're justifying their own place.
Yes.
But this idea that, you know, it's not spiritual to have abundance. I was just out this weekend, just down on the beach. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking out over the ocean, and spirit is pretty darn abundant.
Right? There's a lot of drops of water in that ocean.
Yeah.
There's a lot of grains of sand on that beach.
Spirit ain't about lack.
Nah. Right? So, not lack, but love, right?
And people have taught us these things.
Yes.
People said it's not spiritual to make money. Oh, you should suffer for this. You should struggle. If you have too much abundance, you're not spiritual. It's like, those are people who have misunderstandings and are justifying them. Yes. And are then saying, oh, well, I'm better than you because I struggle more.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be poor enough to help people.
Yes. Yes. This was huge for me, Brad, because when I started this business 5 years ago and started doing this mindset work, I confronted a lot of beliefs I had heard growing up, like you can't be wealthy and have a happy family. You can't, right? Also,
be tapping, folks, be tapping through this, as Christine says this, you know, because that may trigger someone. It's like, well, but that's true. It's like, no, there are rich, happy families and there are poor, unhappy families, and vice versa. And pain and anger and uncomfortable emotions really don't care how much money you have. Right. Exactly. And I remember driving. So I normally live in Louisville, Kentucky. I took my family to Colorado for a month. I'm looking out the windows at the mountains going, abundance, abundance, abundance. Right. And, but my parents lived in Nashville at the time. And I can remember like driving back 3.5 hours and literally just letting like Brad Yates money. Right. That's what I put in YouTube.
driving down the road. I'm not looking at the thing because I can tap without looking, right? But one hand on the wheel, just like releasing for hours on end and being like yawning. I'm like, I didn't think I had more to release. But the whole way, like, please tell service stay. So what's the next suggested video? I'm doing it because like so much to shift, right? So much that I'd spent, decades, like you said, justifying. And then realizing, hey, that's actually not getting me what I want. What if I can have what I want and not make myself wrong for it? And tapping is the way to do that. So thank you.
Yeah. And there's no one out there who was like, my life is so much better because Christine isn't allowing more money. Thank goodness she's depriving herself because, there's more for me then,
Right. It's really good to see her as an example of like not giving herself what she wants and like living incongruently, since the name of her business is Life with Passion. Right.
and we're doing the best we can. It's not to shame anybody for just allowing yourself to see. And again, I working with a business coach yesterday, and she pointed out some places where I had some some anti-abundance thoughts, like, oh man, and I tap with people on this stuff all the time, but there's still layers of what more am I willing to allow?
Yep. And we teach what we need to learn, right? Which is super cool because we get to keep learning it. So what do you feel like is next for you? What are you most excited about what you've been tapping on, allowing, creating?
There's always something. So right now, I'm blessed to be in a position where I can put things out there for free. So like tomorrow night, my wife and I are going to do a Facebook Live on tapping through grief because of all the loss that people are experiencing at this time.
Beautiful.
I just got off a call with this woman who I met, and we're doing a Facebook Live next week on recovering from racism. She's a Black woman who teaches racial equity. And people had asked me, hey, Brad, could you do a video for recovering from racial trauma? And I said, I can't. I am not the person to do that.
Right.
And, put it out there in the universe. I'm looking for a collaborator, someone who I can work with to do some of the healing that isn't necessary. Yeah. And this woman turns up, and she's been a fan of my work and does tapping, but she also teaches racial equity. It's like, wow, law of attraction. And she's awesome. And I'm really excited to work with her and have these difficult conversations with tapping.
Yep.
To make a difference in the world. So I'm just blessed to have the opportunity to put stuff like that out there and try to create more healing, more understanding, more love, more peace.
Yeah.
My job is instrument of peace. I have a little thing on my watch that says IOP, instrument of peace.
I love that. You keep it in front of you, right? Like, this is what I'm doing, aligning with what I feel is what I'm here to do, right?
And always looking for new opportunities. Like things will show up. It's like, ooh, that's I want to do something there. I want to help people in terms of overcoming blocks in this business or in that particular business, and really focusing on, like I'd done a series with this woman on network marketing.
Yes.
And just finding those where there are differences in different occupations and where tapping can come in. So there's always, I'm excited because there's like no shortage of places where I can come in and say, let me help you with that. There's a block there, because the extent to which we're not experiencing what we say we want is the extent to which we're resisting it. And people are resisting good things all over the place. Like, ooh, I think I've got something that can help.
Right?
So
I love that.
I'm excited about the things that I don't even know to be excited about.
The possibilities, right? Which is like, obviously you're in a place to be open to possibility because you tap and your nervous system is like cool and calm and like working well, right?
And all kinds of incredible things just keep happening. I was working with a musician earlier this morning, and I said, imagine working with someone who's a big name, and and I mentioned just a jazz musician that I knew of, and I said, like this guy, and he goes, "Oh yeah, he's a good friend of mine." I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I'm like, "Okay, so I'm looking forward to seeing the two of you perform at Birdland in New York." Okay, so it's like I'm 1 degree of separation from this jazz musician that I love.
Yes.
So these opportunities that magically happen.
Yes.
Because for 20 years I've been tapping and clearing the resistance to magical things happening.
That gives me chills. Magic and miracles.
And likewise, meeting you. You know,
right?
the things you were posted, it's like when you were posted on Instagram and showing this to my wife, it's like, how cool is this that I've manifested this?
I love it. I feel the same way. I cannot tell you how many people have reached out to me being like, I'm obsessed, not in a stalker way. I'm obsessed with Brad Yates. Like, what is happening? Like, how lucky are you? Like, how cool is this? I'm like, oh no. Right.
I'm just a guy who taps on his face. It's like, I mean, it's very gratifying and it's humbling that people respond so well to me. It's like, it's God letting me know you're on the right track.
Yeah. Right. You're making a difference, right? Serving that impact first in you. And it's that like authenticity, right? And genuine, you are who you are. You do what you do because you feel called to it. And obviously people like me feel that, right? And it's why you have super fans, right? Like myself included. What do you do that complements tapping? Like, are there any things, I know you mentioned like affirmations sometimes while you're tapping, prayers sometimes while you're tapping. What do you find works well with it? Or is the answer everything? I don't know.
Yeah. Try it on everything. I think one of the things I love about tapping is that it is so complementary to other things.
Agreed.
I've had people say, "Oh, well, you obviously are using NLP or you're using CBT or you're using," it's like, aspects of that. Yeah. Hypnotic languaging. I started out as a hypnotherapist, and I do use some hypnosis still. I tend to end my sessions with guided imagery. I'll usually work that into a workshop at some point because it's just nurturing for the body and mind and spirit on a different level.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I love that tapping can be done with so many things. You can be saying affirmations, you can be singing songs, saying prayers. So I'll say to folks, whatever is working for you, just add this in because it'll clear the resistance. Because a lot of people will say prayers or affirmations, but they're unconsciously blocked to that. So it's kind of empty.
Yep.
And not they're bad or stupid. It's just that they have old programming that makes them resistant to it.
Yep.
And so while we're saying, I am rich, I am wealthy, I have all this great abundance inside, it's like, yeah, tell me
not okay to be that, right?
And so I block that. So as we tap and we clear that resistance and we allow ourselves to look at those fears, why wouldn't that be okay? Why is that wrong? That's a misunderstanding. I could do so much more good if I had a lot more money. Not that I can't do good without money. I mean, it's not a matter of you have to be rich. There are people out there saying that. It's like, rich is whatever it means to you. But it's a matter of not justifying lack and saying that it's better somehow.
Yes.
So, but as we say these affirmations and it can be about anything. It can be about, oh, I'm healthy. I'm at my ideal weight. I am this and I'm that. Because there's going to be, as I said earlier, the extent to which we're not experiencing what we say we want is the extent to which we're resisting it. So when we talk about what we want, that resistance comes up.
Yep.
That would be a good time to tap.
Like, I have a tool for that.
Clearing that stuff out so that when we think about it, I've had people come up to me and say things like, I've gone to all the seminars, I've read all the books, and I'm just not making the kind of money that I want to make. No, close your eyes, take a deep breath. Imagine yourself having that kind of money and say, it's safe for me to have this much money. Oh, it's like a 3. Brilliant. Now you know why the books and the seminars aren't going to help you. Because, if you imagine, if you have young children, let's say your 4-year-old is invited to a birthday party in a not so nice neighborhood. And you ask yourself, on a scale of 0 to 10, how safe is it for my child to go to this party? If it was a 3, would you let your child go to that party?
Nah.
No. So if you think it's a 3 to have that kind of money you think you want, it's no wonder you are brilliantly stopping yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Self-sabotage is simply misguided self-love.
Yes.
When you are sabotaging your success, it's not because you're bad or stupid or weak or lazy. It's because you are brilliantly stopping yourself from something you have been convinced is bad for you, is wrong for you. It's a misunderstanding. It's somebody else defending their old ideas about why it's that way.
Yep.
And as we allow ourselves to clear that and clear the stress response that comes up, so it's like, well, I say I want a lot of money, but it has a lot of stress. And so my mind says, you can fantasize about it, put up your vision board. That's awesome. We're just going to make sure it never happens.
No.
Because we're going to keep you safely in your comfort zone.
Yes.
And instead of beating ourselves up, we beat ourselves up for our lack of money. We beat ourselves up for our extra weight. We beat ourselves up for our difficult relationships. Stop beating yourself up. Be compassionate with yourself and say, I love and appreciate that part of me that thought that that was a good idea, that thought I needed to have less, that thought I needed to have less money, more weight, whatever that is, that part of me that said, if I'm going to be dating, I should only date people who are wrong for me, people who are unavailable, people who are mean to me, because I am much safer being single. And eventually I'll leave that jerk. If I meet somebody really wonderful, that would put me into a relationship that would be all kinds of crazy for me. And so rather than beating ourselves up for our poor choices, it's a matter of going, okay, why did I think that was a good choice? Because part of me thought that was a good choice.
Or I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Right.
You go back, take any choice you've made, the worst mistakes you've made.
Yeah.
And if you could open your brain and follow the neural pathways and see all of the experiences that led to that, you'd go, I see why I did that.
Right.
Because I didn't see another path. As I look and go, I should have done that. I should have done this, or I shouldn't have done that. Yes, hindsight is 20/20. In that moment, it wasn't that easy of a choice.
Yes.
This is what you felt you needed to do.
Yes.
Forgive yourself and now make better choices and clear away the stuff that made you make those choices. What was going on for me that I couldn't have a carrot and had to eat a pint of ice cream?
Right.
What is it that told me I have to give my phone number to this person who has just been saying nasty things all evening and then asked for my phone number? Well, no one else asked me out. Whatever those thoughts and beliefs are, have compassion. It's like, given what I've experienced in my life, given all the programming I have, this is the best I was able to do up until this point. And now I have a tool to be able to look at things. But when we without the tapping, when we just say, we'll change your mind about that, we don't like change. We like homeostasis. We like things to be, even when our lives are crap, it's our crap. We know where it goes. We have furniture that it fits into. And, we don't want to have to deal with new furniture. So we keep the same old crap. Yeah. And so when we look to make changes, part of us has a stress response.
Yeah.
So with the tapping, we are able to lower that stress and look and say, there's something better for me. I do deserve better. I can handle better. It's better for other people. My abundance doesn't, there's a part of it that says, if I had more money, it would make my family really angry. They'd feel bad about how little they make. Yeah. That's not helping them. That's like being at the beach and looking at this beautiful ocean, and they're standing there with their back to the ocean and saying, how nice for you to have this view, and saying, all right, and turning away from the ocean. It's like, okay, we'll both deprive ourselves of the view. It's like, no, invite them to turn around. And if we say it's noble, it's noble for me to sacrifice abundance for these people. Okay, so what you're saying to them is, I could have it better, but you couldn't, because you're kind of a loser. So I'm going to make the sacrifice for you because you're a loser. It doesn't sound so noble anymore, does it?
Or loving, kind. Right. I love
See
that.
them with those people, see the masterpiece inside and encourage them to tap away the limitations.
Yes.
Psst, there's this guy on YouTube with over 900 videos that they can watch
For free.
for free. Well, it may cost them 3 seconds of advertisement.
Yeah. 3 seconds, 3 whole seconds.
Ow, that's not worth it. I'd rather just stay here and deprive myself of abundance.
In the cave, right?
Okay. And then and I'm saying that in a way that might sound like shaming, and it's not meant to be at all, because we are all doing the best we can where we are. And the person who says, when I get nasty comments on YouTube about how stupid the tapping looks, it's like, okay, that's a person who's really afraid that it might work.
Ooh, I love that frame. I love it. Like, I can't allow it to possibly work because I can't allow myself to think that it might work because, or try it, because then that would, I would have to change. Right?
I would have to deal with change.
Yeah.
And where I'm at is crap, but it's my
Yep.
crap.
Yep.
Please don't come along and tell me that something relatively simple could actually
be the answer.
Because how do I justify the years of misery if there is a solution?
Mic drop, Brad Yates. I have this quote that says, to your brain, safe is sane, even if it sucks. Right? And it's like, this is so true. Like, we resist what we want because it's change and it's different and it freaks us out massively. Right? And so we procrastinate and all the things.
People have famously written the to be or not to be speech in Hamlet, the Declaration of Independence. There are all kinds of famous pieces of literature that talk about how we will keep the evils that we know for fear of the unknown. And if only there was something we could do about that fear. Only.
Gosh, yeah, it's just escaping me. I love it.
And we come to it when we're ready. For me, it's like if I put it out there and that person who has the negative comment, great, you've been introduced. And the next time someone talks to you about tapping, it might be, oh, I've seen that before. Yeah. It doesn't sound quite so new. It's not quite so weird as it felt the first time I saw it. Yeah. And creates that open, and who knows what might happen.
Yeah, when they're ready, right? This is all so good. What is your personal, and it could be now or always, what is your personal favorite affirmation to use with tapping?
There's a couple that I use. So one, I start my day with a meditation that sometimes I do it in a meditation. Sometimes I do it while tapping, where I say, thank you for making me an instrument of your peace. Thank you for making me a channel of your love. Then I might also say, thank you for the blessings that I have. Thank you for the blessings I am receiving. So those are some of the ones that I do on most days. I'll say things like that. Beautiful.
Beautiful. There is so much gold in this interview, Brad. I don't even know how I'm going to choose quotes to put in the graphics, because there are at least 24. But what is your biggest piece of advice with tapping, using tapping to change your life and take control of your destiny and help other people and help yourself?
Yeah. To me, the most important thing is learning to love yourself and using tapping to clear away all the reasons why you couldn't or shouldn't. Join me right now.
Do it.
I'm clearing all these reasons. Why I couldn't or shouldn't love myself. All these fears. That it's somehow wrong to love myself. That it's arrogant. Or conceited. Because arrogance and conceit is not genuine self-love. Because the more I truly see how lovable I am, the more I see how lovable other people are.
The more I see how lovable other people are.
And that's the opposite of arrogance.
That's the opposite of arrogance.
So I'm allowing myself to see.
I'm allowing myself to see.
The genuine self-love.
The genuine self-love.
Is a win-win situation.
Is a win-win situation.
And part of me might say. Yeah, but I've done some awful things.
Yeah, but I've done some awful things.
I can't love myself because of that.
I can't love myself because of that.
But maybe it's possible.
Maybe it's possible.
That those things don't make me unlovable.
Those things don't make me unlovable.
I did them because I doubted that I was lovable.
I did them because I doubted I was lovable.
So the more I clear out this resistance.
The more I clear out this resistance.
And allow myself to really love myself.
And allow myself to really love myself.
I'm far less likely to do those kind of stupid things.
I'm far less likely to do those kinds of stupid things.
Why would I hurt myself?
Why would I hurt myself?
Or others.
Or others.
When I'm so full of love.
When I'm so full of love.
So I'm clearing what doesn't feel like love.
I'm clearing what doesn't feel like love.
Clearing that at a cellular level.
Clearing that at a cellular level.
And all the way back through my past.
All the way back through my past.
So all that's left is love.
So all that's left is love.
And I'm allowing myself to feel that.
And I'm allowing myself to feel that.
In body, mind, and spirit.
In body, mind, and spirit.
And take a deep breath. And it's an ongoing process, just like, just like bathing. You can take a really good shower, but you're going to need another one at some point. And there may be things that, you may get to a point of, wow, I am freaking awesome. I totally love myself. And something might happen where you beat yourself up and it's like, all right, I need to remind myself again how lovable I am and how awesome I am. But it's a worthwhile endeavor because the love that you feel for yourself spills out onto other people.
Yes, yes, yes. And on a super personal note, before we wrap up, Brad, like most of my community knows that I started this company after I lost my first daughter at full term unexpectedly. And I have had a ton of guilt and, my body failed her, right? So what else do you look at, right? It was a perfect pregnancy. And so I've had to, right, work my way through that grief and that guilt. And that was what was coming up for me as we were tapping on being unlovable. And I know that I've used your videos both on healthy pregnancies and on, forgiving myself and loving myself to help me through that process, because the grief, of course, continues, right, with every milestone and my younger one's birthdays and all of that, and thinking about what could have been, would have been. Right. But I'm so, so, so deeply grateful that you have shown up in this way to give me a tool to help me manage and, survive that loss, and then also go on to thrive and help others. Because I know I have a choice, and because I know I can clear the resistance to stopping myself because something like that happened. Right. So thank you.
I thank you for sharing that. It's very gratifying. I have 2 children, and I can only imagine the pain and grief of losing a child. I was presenting a workshop, and there was a couple there who had lost a child. All right, this will be a fun live workshop one to do. And so I'm doing a Facebook Live with my wife tomorrow, talking about grief. Excuse me. And yes, grief does continue, but it doesn't need to be crippling.
Exactly.
Because we can't do anything for the person who has passed on, but we can do something for people who are still here.
Yes.
And so it's giving ourselves the freedom to show up and still be alive, while still honoring who they were. Yes.
Beautifully said. If anybody's dealing with grief, Brad and his wife, right, are going to go live on your Facebook page. Anybody who's watching this live or on the replay. Brad, what are what's the other best way to connect with you?
So, yeah, it's Tap with Brad on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. My website is tapwithbrad.com. And if you go to tapwithbrad.com/live, that's where you can find out about my live events, like the one on grief, the one on racism next week, and any of the live events that I do.
Beautiful, beautiful. Brad, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I've enjoyed this very much.
Thank you.